Split is directed by M. Night Shyamalan and stars James McAvoy, Anya Taylor-Joy and Betty Buckley. As most film fans will know, M. Night Shyamalan's career has been kind of on the skids since about 2004 when The Village came out and divided basically everybody. There was this feeling that he'd gotten too complacent with his writing, he got too reliant on twists, and the ingenuity of his earlier films like Signs, The Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, it just wasn't there. Like, what's going on? Then The Visit came out in 2015 and people sort of began to reconsider their position on Shyamalan. This seemed like a bit of a comeback. You know, it was not a great film, but it was this low budget thing he funded with his own money, and it was pretty entertaining, and it felt like, okay, as his best film since Signs, this could be a real comeback. Well, Shyamalan's follow-up, Split, it hit cinemas this weekend, and it's a real genuine pleasure to say that this is a major return to form for the director. This is definitely his best film since Signs, and it's right up there with Unbreakable and Signs. A very entertaining, suspenseful thriller that makes you remember that this guy can really make a damn good film. The basic premise sees three teenage girls kidnapped by a man suffering with dissociative identity disorder, played by James McAvoy. So he traps them in his fortress place thing, and they have to attempt to escape, but of course they come into contact with some of his more than 20 personalities, including a woman and a young boy. And then they realise that getting out of this situation is going to be a lot more complicated than just a garden variety psychopath. Split was filmed for just $5 million, that's the same amount that The Visit cost, but to look at it you would not know that they cost the same amount of money. This is a professional, crisp looking film. It helps that it was, the cinematographer was the guy who did It Follows, a very good looking low budget horror film as well. But you would think with McAvoy being involved this would cost a lot more, but no, I'm guessing he took a pretty low fee, and it surely helps that the film, there are just a few locations. But even so, this is an economic film. They got a lot out of their money. From start to finish, Split is a perfect reminder just how good Shyamalan can be at tone when he cares about the project. For instance, the trailers for The Visit painted it as this sort of unintentionally funny, bad horror film, but then you watch the film and it's actually meant to be hilarious, and it's really funny. I will say though that the marketing for Split didn't really play up the comedy angle much, and that's quite understandable really, but this is actually a really funny film. And I suppose some people might be uncomfortable with a comedy centering around a mental illness, and people will be absolutely within their rights to take issues with that, but I think overall the humour is more surreal, and considering how incredibly grim this film gets at points, like, it's definitely welcome, and Shyamalan combines the two tones very well overall. I don't want to talk too much about the plot because I feel like the trailers already gave way too much away, but this is a really fun film to watch when you consider that Shyamalan is very aware of what people expect from him as a filmmaker, and also what people expect from the mystery film genre as a whole. There are tons of red herrings in this film, and I had a ton of fun just trying to connect everything together, thinking, oh, am I going to get tricked here, or does this mean something later? And it kind of gets so, you get all these concepts in your head, it gets so messy, you kind of end up having no idea what's actually going to happen, and I loved that. I thought it was fantastic. And that's it really. This is just a fun film. Like, it's within a very specific genre, very specific idea that we've seen done in other films, some successfully, some not. This is definitely up the upper end of ones I've seen recently, and Shyamalan directs the hell out of it, but the real reason the movie succeeds is its secret weapon, James McAvoy. Now, I think most people will agree he is a very solid actor, and this is definitely his best performance in quite some time, considering he has to play so many different personalities, and he has to switch between them quite often within a scene, within a shot even. So there's not a lot of tricks that can paper over him having to switch between accents and different tics and aspects of the personalities, which is incredibly demanding on an actor, and he plays it off superbly. I mean, if you needed any more proof that McAvoy is a terrific actor, you have it right here. Anya Taylor-Joy, who most will probably remember from The Witch last year, she was great in that, and she's very good here as well. It's quite a subdued role, like a lot of it zooms in on her face, it closes in on her expressions. There's stretches of the film where she doesn't say a whole lot, but she's very good. Definitely a very promising career here, obviously. I did roll my eyes a little bit though. There were a few times when it feels like Shyamalan kind of shoots her in suggestive fashion, which didn't really feel that necessary. I kind of groaned a little bit because, you know, that was clearly done for teenagers, like teenage boys, I guess. I don't know. And it's the same thing with the two other female characters who are also very good, but again, it felt a bit tropey to film them like that. Finally, there's Tony Award winner Betty Buckley, who plays James McAvoy's psychiatrist in this film. And she's been a Shyamalan film before. She was the old lady in The Happening. She's much better in this, thankfully. She's very, very good. Most of her scenes are also very exposition heavy, which is always a challenge. And she pulls it off incredibly well. Considering that these scenes go on a long time, she has this real gravitas, which you would expect from a Tony Award winner. And she's definitely not phoning it in. I think overall, Shyamalan's films are very well cast, even his bad ones, for the most part. And there's not, across the cast, it is very, very well done. He knew what he was looking for and he got it. I said a moment ago I don't want to talk about plot specifics, but it is worth saying that there is definitely a certain part of this film that people are going to be talking about a lot this weekend and beyond. Part of that will be the depiction of mental illness, and people will have their opinions to say about that. But there's also something else. And I'm not going to say what it is because that would be criminal. But there is something very unexpected and quite shocking, honestly. My audience was very surprised that happens at a certain point in this film. I'm not going to say what it is, but I couldn't quite believe what I'd seen. It was a very interesting subversion of what people expect from Shyamalan. And I will just say that do not go on the Wikipedia page for this film right now if you haven't seen the film, because a spoiler is on there that you do not want to know about before you go in. I was blown away by it. I think it will put a smile on a lot of people's faces, I'll just say that. In closing, Split is a very encouraging return to form for M. Night Shyamalan. This is a very good looking film, very crisply directed, and James McAvoy gives an excellent performance. I would dare say it's one of his best yet. You know what? The film might be about 10 minutes too long overall. It's about 2 hours. But I was still really drawn into it. Like I said, even the exposition scenes that, honestly, I didn't really mind. We all love a bit of proof that January films don't have to be complete dog shit. They don't have to be underworld blood wars. And here it is. Split gets a very solid and respectable 7 out of 10. I can't wait to see what Shyamalan does next. If you like this video, please do like and subscribe. Thank you as always. And I'll be here from dusk till Shaun.